about rip-offs and being original, and I'm not quite sure what set me off on this, so this was a long time ago. I think partly because I am using the graphics from Tyrion, they're free, link in the description probably, but I am doing a bunch of stuff using old graphics that were there in a game from 1995, and I think some people might have gotten the wrong idea and thought that it was some Tyrion clone, even when actually Super Space Galaxy is very different indeed. But I also decided to use these wrongful comments as a cause to talk about originality and how I think it works, because sometimes people think they're not being original when maybe they are, or they have the wrong idea about originality, so I want to iron out some things about that today. My main idea is just that being original isn't really a matter of making something fully original. In fact, there's kind of no such thing as being original. What you actually do is take material you've already seen and rearrange it into a new shape. So you're not really making something new, you're kind of taking the old material and just squooshing it around a bit into something new, like the clay was already there. And let me illustrate this with a bunch of things in Super Space Galaxy. So, one inobvious source of inspiration is the demo of Rustler I played. It's kind of a medieval GTA, and I was looking around trying to figure out how I could show the fuel and the ammo and the health and stuff in your ship, and somehow fate just decreed it that I looked at Rustler, and I saw those curved bars, right? I forget what's even in them, I know it doesn't really matter, but I saw those curved bars and I thought, oh, that's it. I was just given the right answer, so the bars are the way they are completely because of Rustler. Thank you, Rustler. Apparently the game wasn't even really that great, but that was nice. I did get some inspiration from Minecraft. This is more of a abstract thing, really. I don't really know how Minecraft did generate its levels, and I'm quite sure I generate mine differently. But just the idea of having a randomly generated landscape, and sometimes wandering around in Minecraft and wishing I could move faster and wishing I had some kind of spaceship. Now that you mention it, I think I was playing Saints Row 3 as well, and kind of just going up and down and zooming in and out and some of the cool aircraft you can play with in that game. It all kind of condensed together into wouldn't it be cool if you could be in a spaceship and fly around in Minecraft kind of a thought. Another big thing Tyrion did for me was just a choice between Asteroid 1 and Asteroid 2 in that game, because until then I'd only really played these linear space shooters where you were expected to just go from level 1 to level 2, and it doesn't sound like much, but just being given the choice of do you want to go to Asteroid 1 or Asteroid 2 was kind of mind-blowing, and that's a little bit of the reason I have these planets where you get to choose where you go in the solar system. Anyway, I'll go through the list a bit quicker, because otherwise I think this video is going to get long. But the burst shot was very much inspired by a gun from the original Halo, which I played pretty late, actually. I didn't really play Halo back in the day, but yeah, I just was playing with this burst pistol in Halo, and I thought, oh yeah, that would make sense. The jackhammer gun is named after a gun in Max Payne that was pretty cool and pretty powerful, I think. The Harrier Wave is inspired by a level in Bayonetta that was also inspired by Space Harrier, so that's why it's called the Harrier Wave. The shield was kind of my attempt at recreating the body armor in GTA 3, so I just really liked how the body armor worked and how it just made you feel good having this extra health. I just thought it'd be nice to make a bit of sci-fi sense to have a shield and have GTA 3's best thing in my game. Palladium is basically just there for an Ultima Underworld 2 reference, because I like Ultima Underworld 2, so since it's my game, I can put all the references I want. And the whole game is kind of inspired by Solar Winds, which wasn't even that good of a game, but it inspired me, just the idea of exploring space and flying around this galaxy and finding out what was in it was an exciting idea at the time, even if Solar Winds itself turned out to be kind of dull. Anyway, so my point overall is just that to make Super Space Galaxy, or pretty much any game, most people I see in my Discord server and stuff who are building games have taken inspiration from all over the place. They've played a bunch of different games, and their games are not rip-offs of any one game. And I think that's kind of part of just media maturity as well. Like when you're a kid or a teenager or something, you're more likely to come up with things that are just directly based on some cartoon you've watched recently or something, because you haven't seen much stuff. Whereas if you've played a whole bunch of games and you put them all in the blender there, you come up with kind of a richer stew, and you're able to pick out smaller pieces and understand their significance and put them together. So it's still working with raw material from stuff you've seen. It's not really original. The only difference between somebody who's quote-unquote original and somebody who's just making a blatant rip-off is that the original stuff is harder to trace, and it's just richer with smaller pieces put together, but it's all still based on material you saw before. Anyway, point is, yeah, so when you're creative, it's not like you're just pulling things out of the ether from nowhere and just, oh, I've come up with this. It really is a known process, and it comes from blending things up and smooshing them together. I mean, even my creative heroes like David Lynch and stuff, I mean, I don't think anybody could say that David Lynch is unoriginal, but he, when he lived, bless him, he made some weird things, but they're all still ultimately inspired by movies he saw in the 50s and things. He definitely put his own weird David Lynch twist on them, and it was original, but it was still based on stuff he saw. He didn't just pull it out of nowhere. That's not how it works. Anyway, I think I've made my point that creating stuff is not just pulling things out of nowhere, and the counterintuitive thing here is that to be more original, you don't copy fewer things, you copy more things. The trick isn't to copy 0 things or something and be completely original. The trick is to copy as many things as possible and get them out of there in as small a piece as possible and combine them in new ways and just work with that clay until you have something new. So there you go. That is the point of today's video. Good night. Most indie game devs never finish their game. Why? No structure, no accountability, and no support. That's why I'm opening 5 private coaching spots to help devs get unstuck and finally finish their game. Message me game plan in my Discord and let's chat.